Park and Rec regular board meeting. It is Wednesday, July 15th, and we are in Carnegie Town Hall. Mackenzie, could you do roll call and determination of quorum, please?
Teresa Cowles.
Present.
Mick Conlin.
Here.
Pam Hanneman.
Here.
Brooke Wagner. Mike Begeman. Justin Smith.
Here.
Angela Shuffleman.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. I presume you've all had an opportunity to review the minutes in your board packets. Are there any comments, corrections? I'll say I did notice that our esteemed colleague, Mr. Conlin's name may have missed an N and it appears as Mr. Collin. So I would entertain a motion to, with a second, to correct the spelling of his name in the minutes.
So move. Hanneman.
Is there a second?
Second, Shuffleman.
Thank you.
Cowles.
Yes.
Conlin.
Yes.
Hanneman.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Shuffleman.
Yes.
Great. I appreciate that. Any other comments? Then we will move to approve the minutes as amended.
That's corrected. Yep.
Correct?
So moved, Conlon? Or Colin?
Thank you. Has there been a second?
Second, Hanneman.
Thank you.
Cowles.
Yes.
Conlin.
Yes.
Hanneman.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Shuffleman.
Yes.
I believe everyone has a copy of the agenda in front of them. Do we need a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, Smith?
Second, Shuffleman.
Cowles.
Yes.
Conlin.
Yes.
Hanneman.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Shuffleman.
Yes.
Gosh, this is the most activity we've had at the beginning of the meeting for a while. Next item of business is public input. If you are here for public input of any kind, whether it's an agenda item or otherwise, I'd ask you to step forward. Seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business, and I do not believe there's any on our docket. Next up is new business. And first up is the conditional gifting agreement for the redevelopment of a portion of Falls Park. Mr. Patton.
Thank you, board members. Mike Patton. Really excited to present this item today. We've done a lot of gifting agreements over the past 8 years, and I can tell you this is one of the longer processes I've been involved in to get, and it's required a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, a lot of site visits, a lot of coordination with other departments at the city, whether it be Aaron Bovenkamp with engineering or our partners with Mary Kalsrud at the foundation. Just a lot of work went into this, and it's something we're all very proud of. And so just to give you a little background, we've been discussing the potential gift with the Bezos Earth Grant for some time, right? And through their Greening America Cities initiative, I'm sure you heard a couple weeks ago, we announced that we were the recipient of $15 million for what I'm calling sort of the initial phase of the Falls Park Master Plan development process. And so that particular area was expansion into the quarry area, which was identified in the master plan. And through that grant of $15 million, that will cover everything from start to finish: the community engagement, the planning design, the environmental impacts and remediation, construction dollars, and even a little bit of dollars for programming going forward. So it's a really, really awesome opportunity for us, okay? And so I would say the question that I've heard the most since this was announced is, why would Bezos give the city of Sioux Falls money? Out of all the places out there, why would it? And I tried to answer that myself, and I went to their website, and there's a quote on the screen. Are your guys' screens there? Okay, so on there it says, we don't just write checks and walk away. We focus on big ideas, programs, and inventions that help us meet our mission. And I would say the key word for me in there was big ideas. And I think there was a lot of conversation over the Falls Park Master Plan is it ready to go? Do we need to approve it? How important is this? You don't have the dollars to fund it. Why would we do this now? And I think this just speaks volumes to how important it is that we dream. A lot of you are part of that process. We created a really impressive vision, and it just goes to show that by doing that, it can pay off sometimes, right? A couple of images on the screen are from the Falls Park Master Plan. And when we first went through that visionary process, it was determined that our goal was to kind of create a place that people that lived in the area could experience nature, could experience recreation without having to hop in a car to do it. You know, immediately south of the core area is the Whittier neighborhood. And, you know, they can't just hop in a car and go to Day County and fish for walleyes, right? They can't just jump in their car and go to Newton Hills and, you know, sit by the river and see nature, right? And so how could we create that here within walking distance of some of these areas? And so that was sort of the impetus for what we wanted to see happen there. Having said that, a huge portion of this grant dollars and this planning process will be headed towards community engagement. So ultimately, what we end up designing, what we end up building will be the result of what the community and the neighborhoods tell us they want to see happen here, and how can we make it fit within that budget. The proposed terms for the agreement are really, really pretty simple. The agreement is with the Sioux Falls Area Community Foundation. Now, they have their own grant agreement with the Bezos Foundation. So we're not party to that. We're party to an agreement with the Sioux Falls Area Community Foundation. And it's for $15 million minus their administration fee. And it kind of it comes in 3 tranches, okay? The first tranche would be $3 million, and that covers planning, design, construction, environmental investigation, et cetera. Basically, it'll take us all the way up to when we're ready to bid the project. Once we've all agreed on what the project is and everybody thumbs up, then we'll get the second payment of $11 million, and that's for construction only. Construction and construction administration, which would include having to any environmental remediation that needs to take place. And then finally, there's a $1 million payment that would go to support sort of future events and programming that could happen in the space, whether special events for parties or there's music through the Levitt there, whatever that may be, to be determined, but some seed money to kind of help program that space going forward. It's about a 3-year process all in. We're looking at starting design later this September with council support. And it's about 18 months worth of all planning and design. Once we're ready to bid that, hopefully in the spring of 2028, we'll start construction and be complete late summer, fall of 29. Now that's the tentative schedule today, but you know, that could speed up, that could slow down based on how the feedback comes in. After it's complete, the city will own, maintain all the improvements, program the space going forward. One unique feature to this gifting agreement is there's no naming associated with it at this point. So there's this will actually be approved via resolution since it doesn't trigger the naming ordinance. I do want to point out that the final $1 million for programming is subject to the foundation securing an additional $1.3 million in additional funds. And that could be private donations that come in from another donor that wants to help make the project a little better. It could be a state grant that potentially helps some of the environmental remediation that needs to happen. It could be any sort of in-kind labor. So to be determined how that comes in, but that's the final $1 million is subject to that. So with that being said, we're here for your recommendation today, and staff supports that. If you support it, we'll go to City Council here on August 5th. So with that, I'm here, Mary Kalsrud is here, Aaron Bulfenkamp is here, trying to answer any questions you might have.
Mike, thank you. I have a quick question. This has come up a little bit, and I don't know enough, so I'm asking the question. I think it's worth having on record. Some questions have come up regarding data centers and this having some sort of connection or opening the door for that in any way. Is there anything in writing that discusses that?
Well, to be fair, I don't know exactly what a data center is, so I don't think so.
Me either.
Basically, anything we do on this site would have to be consistent with the Falls Park Master Plan, which would have to be for a park purpose. And we have 2 attorneys in the audience here. I don't believe data centers fall under the term for park purpose.
I don't know
Mike,
that
Mike,
was.
yeah, I think, you mind if I?
Go ahead.
A question, I actually had this question myself, was a connection between the data center, the proposed data center project in Sioux Falls, and because of Jeff Bezos's Amazon connection, and whether there was potentially some kind of connection between this donation and that project,
Yes.
proposed project.
Agreed.
Not that I'm aware of. So.
And that's the answer I got as well. So,
Can you tell us a little bit more about how Sioux Falls and I mean, how the Bezos Foundation, how we became aware of the opportunities
I
available?
can. So an email went out about August 2025 that I instantly deleted, assuming it was a spam email, because why would Jeff Bezos want to give Sioux Falls money, right? And then they reached out to the mayor's office after that and said, hey, we're really interested in you. And this is the second round of their funding campaign. And so their first round went to larger cities. I don't know the exact Los Angeles and a handful of other areas like that. And I don't think they saw the results they were hoping for. So they kind of said, let's target some middle-sized cities that, have a track record of doing, big things in their community. So Sioux Falls kind of fit that. And then once we started having conversations with them, they came to Sioux Falls. We showed them the park system. We showed them some opportunities, and it really resonated with them.
so Mike, I've got a question about Section 5 of the agreement and the properties that are not yet owned by the city.
Yes.
And so on Exhibit B of the site plan, can you help me understand which parcels we're talking about and kind of what the status of those are?
Yes, so that's a good question, Mick. If you look at the screen now, you can see I've got that red circle kind of surrounding a general area that includes the quarry. That area, and I'm going to go to the next slide, you can see that area kind of shown on the left is sort of future parkland, right? And then you can see the area in blue that was shown as redevelopment opportunity, okay? So when we started the master planning process, we kind of targeted a general area, and I think it's 16.3 acres of land, and that's what we show as kind of what we think the area might be, okay? And so we're also going to explore opportunities for the Stockyards Ag Experience, own some property immediately adjacent to the quarry that we think fit with this, and then the Falls Park Master Plan obviously shows them building their facility near the farmers market today, right? And so I think there's some opportunities to explore that, as well as Excel owns some property to the east of this that I think there's an opportunity to partner with. So we're gonna canvass this entire area during the planning process, and I think if the end product ends up being a different acreage, whether it be more or less, or includes all of the properties shown on Exhibit B, or additional properties or less, we will amend the agreement at that time to reflect specifically what we're going to build.
Okay, but can you help me know which, these are all labeled as, with letters.
Mm-hmm. So
L and K, I would be part of that.
I think this is the easiest way to look at it, Mick. Everything shown in orange is owned by the city.
Okay.
Letter M, that's kind of a pinkish color to the south.
Yep.
Okay, that's also city-owned property.
Oh,
It's right of way.
okay.
And then the letter L in the purple to the north
Yep.
is the property I discussed that's owned by the Stockyards Ag Experience, right? So those are the properties we've identified initially with the Falls Park Master Plan for what we'd like to see happen as far as a redevelopment area. Having said that, until we go through the planning and design process, we won't know the exact boundaries.
So the agreement says 5 tracts. It lays out 5 tracts of land with the legal descriptions.
Okay,
And I believe actually one of them, which would be on Exhibit B as I, was just approved
correct.
yesterday.
Correct. That's the
Right.
Carmen family property.
So that's currently, I would guess, not owned by the city, but is in the process of being transferred, right? So that's one of them. K and L on this map would be the other, would be,
The Stockyards Ag Experience
yes,
properties, yeah.
this would be 2 other tracks
Correct.
that in my, math, not knowing if these, if there are multiple tracks within L and K or whatever, I'm just looking for
I believe
those
there's only
other
2.
2 tracks, which are they in this map? Or with L, K, and I, does that cover all 5 of those tracks?
I don't know the answer to that. Can I run that down and get back to you? But basically I think what is important to know is there's different parcels all owned within that orange area that are all owned or will be owned by the city via agreement. Parcel M is right-of-way, that's city property. There's right-of-way that's included that isn't shaded in there. The 2 tracks that are currently not owned by the city that are shown in here for development is the purple, which we've had conversation and have MOU with the Stockyards Ag Experience, and we're currently in the planning process with them a little bit. And so, not being a surveyor, I don't know exactly the tracks off the top of my head, but I could figure that out and get back to you.
So J is owned by the city, which is the road going in?
J is actually owned by, I don't know the exact name of it, but it's Excel Energy.
Yeah,
And then we have easement area through there for access,
okay.
which if you go back here, you see that's kind of where we show the road that connects the areas.
Right.
But like I said, we have to design through this, and we've actually spoken with Excel multiple times throughout the master planning process to potentially get an easement on their property to the east that would allow a trail to further circle the quarry property.
Okay, I guess just from an agreement standpoint, I don't know if
Well, I believe
if legal's comfortable with the ambiguity in the agreement as far as,
well, I think we have some language though, Mick, at the end that says in the event. Let me find that.
yeah, it's best efforts to acquire the properties prior to receiving the second installment of the gift. Should the city fail to acquire the properties in accordance with the time frame herein, the foundation shall have no obligation to proceed with the second installment and third installment. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the parties will collaborate to identify alternative city-owned property adjacent to the site. So, yeah. Hey.
Hi, Catherine Schlimming with the City Attorney's Office. I think you highlighted exactly what this is. There were numerous discussions about the properties identified that we don't presently own, and I think Parks is working actively to acquire them. The foundation and everybody is aware that we don't obviously presently own them. So if those properties don't come under city ownership, then there will be discussions about acquiring other properties to get us to the 16.3 acres discussed in the agreement, and that is a doable do from what I understand if these other properties don't become ours before that second tranche of payments comes our way. So, and then everyone has to, the Bezos has to approve, the foundation has to approve, and we'll go from there if the boundaries as you see them in the agreement need to change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I would prefer that it be a little more locked down than that.
I understand. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think as of right now, getting those properties today or before the agreement is approved by council, I don't know that that's doable, but prior to the second tranche of payments coming our way, Parks believes that is doable. So, and if it's not, then there are other opportunities that are absolutely doable to get us to the 16.3 acres. So, and there's nothing in the agreement that says it has to be the 16.3 acres. It just has to be 16.3 acres, and Bezos and the foundation and Parks all have to agree that whatever the 16.3 acres, however it's compiled within Falls Park, everyone's comfortable with how it looks.
Okay?
Okay. Any other questions?
And I'd like to follow up on that a little bit. So I guess I'm as not hung up on the 16.3 acres as the agreement states specifically that. We did speak with the Bezos team after we sort of drafted this final agreement. I don't think we need to manufacture 16.3 acres just to meet the requirements of the agreement. They were very comfortable that if we end up with a design that everybody likes and we want to fund moving forward before that 11 million comes, if it happens to be 14.2 acres or whatever it might be, at that point we will amend this agreement to button that up.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I mean, I just be on the record that I think it's a wonderful project and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great asset for the city. It's,
No, those are good
I want to
questions.
create a situation where potentially a landowner has leverage over the city because the land is needed to complete an agreement.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think, and Brett, maybe you want to weigh in a little bit because you were specifically involved in those conversations with Diana at the Bezos Earth Fund. But we have a vision that we're hoping to accomplish. We want a green and area. We want to plant as many trees as possible. We want to provide walking connections to the neighborhood, that kind of thing. I don't think they were too nervous or worried about the exact acreage. I think it's actually one of those things that, how big is this area? And that got put in the agreement.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, well, what actually makes it up, right? And so I feel very comfortable that we'll be able to clean this up with an amendment if needed. And to be honest with you, I actually am hopeful this ends up being more like 24 acres. So we'll see what happens once we get through the planning process.
And did you say, Mike, that there is a memorandum of understanding being circulated with the stockyards?
We have a very, very old memorandum of it. I don't think anybody here was on the board when it actually happened. Mike Cooper was still the planning director at the time. And so, yeah, we have a memorandum of understanding with the Stockyards Act group that their mission fits the park's mission and that we'll work with them on, partnering on a facility somewhere in Falls Park. Now, that's just a really sturdy handshake is all that is. So when it comes down to actually developing a gifting agreement, we'll come before this board and council, of course. But with their idea of wanting to have their facility closer to the farmer's market, their property, we worked with them to fold that sort of into the design of the Falls Park master plan.
Is there any further discussion on this issue? Okay. I would entertain a motion for recommendation of approval to the council.
Yes.
So moved, Smith?
Second, Conlon.
Cowles,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Hanneman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Shuffleman.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Next up was a permanent sanitary sewer for Lot 1 in Sherman Park.
Thank you. I've got that as well. So on the screen, I put a quick image up there so you guys can see the area we're talking about. This is really a very kind of cleaning up a previous item. So Sherman Park is obviously shown on the map there. There's an existing sewer line that runs from the trunk sewer that follows the levee and serves those apartments that kind of finger into the park a little bit off 12th Street. We're in the process of building a shop to relocate the crews that handle Sherman Park. Right now they're next to the zoo, and with the zoo expansion, we're relocating them to more of a backup house location here and building a little bigger facility because the crews there are pretty tight, having to handle all those ball fields and everything else that goes on. And so in that open area you see south of 12th Street, between the river and those apartments is where that shop is going. And as a part of the city's process, they're trying to memorialize easements that run through various properties. And so you can see, you kind of orientate yourself with the legal document on the left there. That sewer line shown in blue on the map is within that hatched area on the easement. And so it basically, it's on city property, it's a city utility, but this will just help memorialize where it's at, and that access will always be maintained no matter what happens back there. And with that, staff recommends your recommendation of approval, because this will go to council after you.
Mike, actually, not necessarily related to this, but just from the location of the shop, that where the trees are, there's what we call like a pump track or something like, isn't that where that is?
No, you're a little further. This is south of that, so that pump track's on Russell and
okay.
Kiwanis. This is
Okay.
12th and.
Okay, so there's nothing in the trees there or like that's.
Yeah, you see those two little, well, it's on your screen too.
Yeah.
There's like a storage container and like a shed back there that is used for like
Yeah.
the Hall of Fame and the different user groups of that facility keep some storage back there. We'll relocate them a little bit. Basically, it's back of house, and our crews keep ag lime piles and mulch and other things back there that are used for the park.
So it'll be in that same area, kind of?
It'll be kind of north of where those buildings are now.
Yeah, I guess I was just asking about I thought that, like I said, that track was in there just to make sure that wasn't going to affect that.
No,
But
it's a utility
since it's not
space.
there, it doesn't affect it. Sorry.
No, it's a good location because it allows the crews to kind of be out of sight, out of mind a little bit, right? They're not, you can't see it if you're watching a ball game. You can't see our crews getting mulch and ag lineman equipment out, and so it's a good spot for it.
Further discussion? I'd entertain a motion for recommendation of approval to the council on the permanent sanitary sewer easement.
So moved, Conlon?
Second, Hanneman.
Cowles,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Hanneman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Shuffleman.
Yes.
Great. Next up, we're going to talk about the basketball backboard art. And I believe Maren Engel is with us today and probably has a good handle on this, if you wouldn't mind addressing us.
Hello, how are you?
Great.
Good to see you. I am here to talk about a really cool project that myself and the Arts Commission got to work on this year with our friends in the Parks Department, and our partners at the Summit League and the Denny Sanford Premier Center. So we were approached by our partners at the Summit League about some community engagement opportunities associated with the tournament. They're really intentional about their host cities finding opportunities to talk about the Summit League in new ways and to really include the community in that amazing tournament that we get to host here. And so the commission and myself came up with an idea to partner with a local artist and our school district and our local park system to design backboard designs for a number of city parks. And so we hired Les Cotton, a local artist, really very cool, great artist, and I think you have some visuals in your packet, who was on site with us at the tournament. So he was there all weekend, and he did kind of live doodling with kids that were passing by, anyone who really wanted to. The Premier Center, a sponsor, hosts a bunch of students from a school to come one day, so we had a lot of kids involved. And then he also created kind of a live Summit League inspired mural on site. So it was a really cool activation. We had a DJ. It was fun to have the convention center really kind of lit up with activity. I think from that weekend, we probably got 200 to 300 doodles from kids from all over the community, but we really wanted to be intentional about taking this a step further. And so myself and Les Cotton worked with the school district, and we worked with particularly our after-school programs, the Boys and Girls Club and the CLC. And Les came to work with those kids more specifically to talk about what he does and to talk about street art and how art and sports can kind of be combined. And so we had maybe 5 or 6 sessions with students in classrooms. And then from there, Les took all of the designs that these kids made, hundreds of them, and scanned them digitally. His artwork, his style of artwork is very kind of street art iconography, and so he took all of those scans and created 10 different designs, collage work, that really highlighted specifically the exact artwork that these students created. And our hope is to install them across our city in, I believe, now 11 parks. We've gotten some sponsors really interested in this project, and so we're able to kind of expand the project a little bit, and you have a list of those parks as well. The goal is to do this sometime in the fall, late summer, early fall, and to host kind of first shot events, potentially a pickup ball tournament to really celebrate all of this new artwork that can be found in our park system. The artist is going to work on kind of a passport that shows where all of these locations are, and we're hopeful that it will kind of draw attention to maybe some parks that either maybe don't get as much attention or don't have any public art, and kind of activate those parks a little differently. We worked with the Parks Department to ensure that the parks that we chose really spread across the community, so they really are kind of all over the place. We also designed the artwork in a way that the schools that are close to the parks, we are kind of putting the artwork from those schools in the parks that are close in the hopes that those students will see them. But we're really excited about this project, and I'm just here seeking approval for this install. We're working with Pride Neon, a local signage company, to do the install. They'll be doing them on site. and they're really excited to be partnering with us as well. So, and the hope is, again, to continue this partnership with the Summit League. They're really interested in doing some sort of public art project each year, and so we're kind of busy right now kind of expanding upon this and figuring out, again, how to kind of bring awareness of the tournament and sports and arts into our community. So, thank you. Happy to take questions.
Thank you, Martin. Do you have any idea what the cost or the investment is in this project?
Yeah, we got I believe it's $6K for the installment of all of the backboards, which is quite a bit lower than we actually anticipated. And we also worked with the Premier Center, and they sponsored, along with DTSF and Experience Sioux Falls, all of the artist fees and everything that the artists needed. So they kind of helped us kick off this first part, but the install itself is about $6,000.
And that would be assumed by the Parks Department?
We actually have a number of folks that have stepped forward that want to help, that are working with the Summit League as a go-between to kind of sponsor some parks, and so we're still kind of working on that. But yes, the remainder would come through city dollars.
Okay.
It's a great project, Martin. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah.
Is there further discussion? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So move, Hanneman.
Second, Conlon?
Great.
Cowles,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Hanneman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Shuffleman.
Yes.
I think this will be a great addition to our parks. So
Thank you so
for
much.
your work on that.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Next, let's discuss gate fees. Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, Park Board. Josh Johnson, Parks Ops Manager. This is gate fees for the Nike Heartland Preview and the Nike Cross Heartland Regional in November. These events are September, I think it's September 11th, September 12th, this fall, and then again on November 15th. These are for parking at Yankton Trail Park. The first event is September 12th. That'll be $10 per car. This is organized and hosted by Heartland Training for both events. And then for the event on November 15th or 14th and 15th to be $20 per vehicle. That is also hosted by Heartland Training. If you have any questions, feel free.
These are the same as previous years?
Yep, and the Heartland Preview is new this year for a $10 charge per vehicle. That event is seeing roughly 19,000 cars or 19,000 people. Last year saw about 15,000. So it's one of our more popular events, one-day single events that we have at the parks. And the Nike Regional last year saw 59,000 over the weekend. So these are very popular.
Is there a reason why there's a difference between the $10
The-
and 20? Is there?
The
Just curious.
Heartland in September, the preview is a smaller event that I think it also hosts more of like your high schools and different things come. So there's a smaller crowd. It's more of a local crowd, I believe.
Okay. Is there further discussion? I'd entertain a motion to approve the gate fees.
So moved, Smith?
Second, Shuffleman.
Cowles,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Hanneman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Shuffleman.
Yes.
Great, thank you. The next item on the agenda is a report of the Director of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Collars.
Wonderful. Nice to be with you guys this month. I've missed a couple.
Welcome back.
Yeah, right. A couple months back, I was with our state Parks and Recreation Association, actually on behalf of the National Parks and Rec Association. Got the chance to go to D.C. to have conversations with representatives about the Land, Water, and Conservation Fund and what it means to our local parks. It means a lot to our state parks. So that was a great opportunity. I'm not going to miss this chance to say thank you to Karen Leonard. Karen has supported us for over 20 years, an attorney within our city attorney office. I know in my 3 years, Karen, you've taught me so much, and thank you. thank you, and look forward to celebrating with you next week, and enjoy retirement. Appreciate the conversation earlier on the Bezos Earth Fund grant opportunity. Really excited about that prospect. The team's worked hard toward that. Beyond the ultimate deliverable, I'm really excited about the public engagement process. It's important to the Bezos Earth Fund team. That was obvious through our conversations with them. It's a vital part to what our department does, Parks and Recreation, the city as a whole, and I know City Council has interest in that as well. So look forward to embarking on that later this year. And there are so many thanks to give throughout this whole process. I'm not too proud to realize that we don't even get a seat at the table for opportunities like this without the work that our team does in the field. Our recreation staff making places come alive, our operations team keeping places safe and welcome and beautiful. So this is all because of their hard work. Our department, our city's parks gets noticed, and it's humble to even be involved in a Bezos conversation. So thank you all for the discussion today, and I look forward to the next iterations of that. Community has been well underway. I'll remind you, Community is a federal grant that we were the recipient of, $3 million, the USDA Forestry Service. We have been through several rounds of that, and it's been focused on underserved communities within Sioux Falls. We've exhausted many of those initial planting sites. We've got approval from the Forestry Service to expand those boundaries. So our forestry team has analyzed the urban canopy and locations, neighborhoods who've realized a loss in density more so than others. And we'll be looking to extend an additional opportunity there in the near weeks, near month. So excited to expand that. It's been one of the most refreshing initiatives that I've been a part of here in my 3 years with Parks and Recreation. And then just tonight, you heard the Nike cross-country gate fees. It reminds me of the significant events that our park system hosts on a near weekly basis. This past weekend, we hosted state softball. An event like that is bringing in 40,000 visits, and 60% of those are from greater than 50 miles away, so it's real dollars into our community. Very proud of the work that our team puts into that to host that type of event. Josh mentioned it earlier, Nike Cross Country. You got 10,000 runners in that, 60,000 visits in one day. What an incredible event for our community. In that instance, it's over 90% from greater than 50 miles away. So our team's contributing real effort, real dollars into the economic impact, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Open board discussion. Are there any other items that we need to address today?
I'll join Brett in congratulating Karen Leonard on her retirement. I did ask before the meeting, since we have a new mayor taking over this Friday, before you technically retire, is there anything the incoming mayor could do to stop you from retiring? And I was told no, probably not. So congratulations, and thank you for all your hard work for the city.
Thank you so much. The feeling's mutual, for sure. For sure. Well, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Smith. Oh.
Second, Angela.
Thank you.